I'm sorry. Every single song is about you.
Mikey Way and Pete Wentz were really close in the summer of 2005, and a lot of people are really weird about it. I'm not absolved at all in any way, shape, or form from being one of those weird freaks, because I am doing my final project on it. That is worth 30% of my grade. What does that make me? Just as fucking weird. In all my research, there's definitely seriously some evidence that Mikey Way of My Chemical Romance, the bassist, was the inspiration for a lot of Fall Out Boy's music. Specifically, I'm focusing on Infinity on High, and the time leading up to Infinity on High. So I'm here to break down the truth, the damned truth. Here's a rundown of everything Petekey. We're just gonna start off with the basics. Pete Wentz is the bass player for Fall Out Boy. We'll be focusing on his point of view, mostly because he was like seriously online in 2005. And Mikey really was not, like, there wasn't nearly as much personal info as Pete Wentz was putting out there. He had a lot of different blogs. He did like a bunch of Q&As like really often with fans, and he interacted with like fans like a lot, getting real personal in there. But Mikey Way is the bass player for My Chemical Romance. That's really all you need to know. Just, you know, to kind of lay out a timeline here. Pete Wentz and Mikey Way likely met in 2003 when My Chemical Romance was performing in Chicago, the Fireside Bowl.
More guitars, always.
And the next time that they were seen at like same place, same time wasn't until Warped Tour 2004, where their respective bands were like playing on the side stages. But once we hit 2005, wheels are starting to turn. Once we hit June of 2005, during Warped Tour, that's when things are really getting juicy. Let's begin with the post that started it all, July 28th, 2005. Amazing New Mexico sunset. I'm hanging on a bridge with my friend Mikey Way from my chem. It's all orange and pink above us. We went to another water park again. I love high fives again. Totally back in love. Saw the most amazing movie. I think it's called Spirited Away. Watch it. I'm quite literally looking at all of his posts and analyzing them like they're poetry, so strap in. That's what's about to go down here. This post reads so much as like an appreciation of life and living and loving the people around you, reverting back into childhood and appreciating things you don't like experience anymore, you know, like the sunset, the colors, the water parks, high fives, sitting on a bridge with your friend. But the thing people cling to most from this this post is the phrase totally back in love. What are you back in love with, Pete? People normally are speculating that it's about Mikey Way, specifically just because he's mentioned in the post. Like, to be honest with you, like, when I see it, I'm like, oh, you know, he's back in love with life. He's just happy to be living again. Can that be attributed to Mikey Way? Perhaps. He enters Pete's life in a more significant way than he had, like, before in their short meeting. And that relationship is changing Pete's outlook. He's watching sunsets, he's running through water parks, he's high-fiving, and he's back in love. Fast forward to the 4th of July, where he posts twice. First one reading, "You're number one with a bullet. I love the way you have with me. I love William Beckett, like a boy loves a boy. I love this one girl, she makes me swoon. I love your tired eyes trying to keep up with us on stage. I love the way you're gonna make me an honest man." And I'm kind of easy on the eyes sometimes, right? "I love being up at 9 a.m. I love the night. I love living forever. I love summer. I'm loving this and you and everything. You can't miss me, baby boy. We're doing big things. Thanks for always being the best friends and fans we could ever have." Where to start with this? First of all, the first line is a reference to their song Sugar We're Going Down, which was released in April 4th of that year. Let's break down that whole thing, because in the song and the chorus, which I'm sure we all know, goes, "Sugar, we're going down swinging. I'll be your number one with a bullet, loaded god complex, cock it and bullet." The relationship is going down, but they're going down swinging, meaning not without a fight. You're number one with a bullet could mean multiple different things, including the movie Number One with a Bullet, which is like, it's like a buddy cop movie, you know, the two main characters are like, they're so different, but like, they work really well together. Or it could be referencing the movie High Fidelity, starring John Cusack, where his character like obsessively makes lists, and he refers to the top point of his list at one point, is number one with a bullet, which could suggest that Pete, when writing this song, wanted to be the girl's number one on the list of people she had been in a relationship with. Going with the high fidelity route, we can assume that in this post, Pete is referring to the fact that he wants to be someone's number one. But at the same time, the whole post reads kind of like a list, just the way that he's like listing off things that he loves. But at the top is your number one with a bullet, referencing a person that he obviously has some sort of infatuation with. He wants to be at the top of their list too. I feel fucking crazy. Understanding that first line puts the rest of the post like into perspective, because now it's like a list of things he loves, but more importantly in relation to this person that's making him love all of these things. Very similar to the previous post from June 28th, Pete lists off things he loves, the summer and everything, your tired eyes, all sort of mundane. Basically, we can tell Pete Wentz is full of love. Why could that be? The second post from the 4th of July goes to solidify the notion when he yaps about how much he loves the fans and he's excited for the future of Fall Out Boy, ending the post with hot and miserable, but totally in love. Now this is one that people really like seriously cling on to. I can't lie to you, after reading the full post, I was a bit like hesitant to agree it meant anything, because he spends the whole post talking about the fans and the tour, and then the post is signed off with all four of their names. Pete, Patrick, Andy, Joe. I don't know if it's in that order, but might be. It's not looking very convincing, basically, that it's about Mikey Way or that it's about someone at all. The only thing that makes me think, really analyzing here, is the whole post up until that point is written like a statement or an update from the band. Almost every sentence starts with we, or if it doesn't start with we, it has our or us in the line. But hot and miserable and totally in love has no subject, no personal pronoun added. So do with that what you will. July 7th, Pete rambles once again. He brings up the song Going Missing by Maximo Park, great song, which is basically about being in a relationship and then leaving them, going missing, even though you still love them, missing that person and then remembering them. And once again, to me, it's a read into that one as much as you would like, because it's like, you know, it could be about anything. But Pete does say that it'll make you smile and think of someone / something that you love. So, July 12th. This is a bit of a juicier one. I'm in Canada. It can't take me. I'm stealing all of its candy and pretty colored money. Hidden behind eyes, painted up to block out the sun. No more talking about hair color and eye color, the who's who of future failures. Throw it away, close your eyes and put the speaker next to your pillow. Dream away, dream yourself to life. Stop wasting your eyes trying to figure out who is the heart, the smile, the voice, the words. You can't pull them apart. It's just a mess. How you understand us is so one-dimensional. But changes are coming. You won't wrap your head around us so easily. You're nobody until someone loves you. At least that's half true. Let's not make it through the night. Come on. You look so wrong, but you feel so right. He tastes like you, only sweeter. 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 And so on until the end. Sometimes I'm just a goddamn lunatic, but I only keep myself this sick in the head because I know how you get off on these words. Baby, I've got it bad for you. What? This one is, I feel, about losing desire and obligation that you have to other people. No more talking about hair color and eye color, the who's who of future failures. Is getting frustrated with the obsession of appearances in the music industry and speculation from news outlets and magazines and who's falling off and who's going to be the next big thing. The following few lines are about shutting the outside judgment from others out and accepting that no one is going to understand because they don't care enough. But halfway through this, I feel like the subject of the post changes. Like where he starts talking to one specific person. You're nobody until somebody loves you is likely referencing the song by Dean Martin, but the line following it is at least that's half true, which could be saying literally that it's half true. He's nobody, which relates to the first half of the post, versus somebody loves you relating to the other half of the post. You look so wrong, but you feel so right. He tastes like you, only sweeter. He tastes like you, only blah, 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 blah. But I only keep myself this sick in the head because I know how you get off on these words. Baby, I've got it bad for you. The line, he tastes like you, only sweeter, is from the movie Closer, and you can probably guess what they're talking about. But the point is that Pete is once again talking about how he's full of love. But this time, it's directed at a specific person rather than being a vague, like, super general, how he was in previous posts. You know, we're kind of getting we're kind of getting somewhere. Just a little. Also, he tastes like you, only sweeter is goes to become like the chorus of the song Thanks for the Memories, which was not released at that point, but we can assume that he was writing. And I'm not joking when I said we were getting somewhere, because July 19th is a doozy. Wrote you a goodbye note, you just wrote me off on your arm when you passed out. Best friends, ex-friends, better off as lovers, not the other way around. Racing through the city in the back of yellow checkered cars. The takeoffs are the worst, but the skin from your shoulder to your ear makes it all worth it. And I'm sorry the way my moods flicker on and off like old light on your porch, but I know you wouldn't have it any other way. Sneaking in your window instead of out, the way you hold a cigarette because you don't know what to do with your hands when we're sitting this close. The way waists of pants feel better at the ankles, the way you were always my best excuse for calling in sick on everyone else. I miss you. Jesus. Okay, for starters, basically Bang the Doldrums rough draft. If I read this back in 2005, just thinking, you know, regular, casual, angsty fucking post from Pete, and then I listened to Infinity on High when it came out, got fucking jump scared by a blog post I read 2 years fucking earlier, I would never know how to act again. I would not know. That's the Nightmare Before Christmas poem is to the fucking movie. That's like being a psych ward nurse and seeing a sketch of the fucking Starry Night. That's what it is. I digress. Let's get deep into this because there's lots to work with here. Pete is reminiscing about a relationship that might be over or might just be messy, talking about how they're passionate and intense, but switch flips and all of a sudden they're cold. Best friends, ex-friends, better off as lovers, not the other way around. They couldn't just be friends. There's too much of a connection between the two of them. It's one or the other. Sneaking in your window instead of out could be insinuating that they have to hide their relationship. They're not worried about getting caught together in private by, like, people they know, but they're worried about being caught in public, possibly due to, I don't know, they're both celebrities. Maybe, you know, they're both in the public eye. They don't want to be scrutinized if they get caught. Maybe because it's not the norm at the time. Speaking of, I guess, the norm, speaking of being gay, okay? Speaking of being gay, the first line says, wrote you a goodbye note, you just wrote me off. That goes on to be like the first lyric of Bang the Doldrums, but changes the lyric to say, wrote you a goodbye note and lipstick on your arm. Why'd we add lipstick? Maybe, perhaps, to make it less gay? Lock me up, officer, for that fucking theory. Maybe. It's just, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying he didn't write that in the original post. What made the band go, maybe we should do lipstick. Maybe we should say in lipstick. Because, you know, to make it seem like it's about a girl is what I'm trying to say. And he drops, I miss you at the end. What does that mean? Have they not seen each other for a while? Is the relationship over? Well, here's what I gathered from the internet. And please allow me put my tinfoil hat on. Fall Out Boy was on Jimmy Kimmel on the 18th of July. And there weren't any shows for the 19th of Warped, okay? Could a whole 2 days of Pete Wentz not seeing Mikey Way be enough for him to write the masterpiece that is Bang the Doldrums. Probably some of the stupidest shit I've ever even suggested, but it's interesting how in the 21st, once shows are starting again, My Chemical Romance and Fall Out Boy are in the same vicinity, he's posting all angsty and lovey-dovey again. Following post from July 21st is nuts. You/we are safe and secure, no more stealing glances like a thief, taking chances without giving them back, and maybe I take advantage of that by staring too long. But if you wanted the stars, I wouldn't rest until I was able to pull everyone down and name one after each twinkle in your eyes, and hope you don't frown when we run out of stars. I just love that spark of light I get to see when all the other lights are out. You have the best smile, even better than mine. This is for your memory section. This is forever. We're kissing our dreams goodbye, cause who needs dreams when we have this? We're risking everything and nothing could be more worth it. I guess my point is, you make me want to fall in love and get stuck. Ha ha. Ha ha! This is no laughing goddamn matter, because this is serious business. What do you mean this was written the day Fall Out Boy and My Kim are performing together, huh? This is just beautiful. As a side note, what do you mean? But if you wanted all the stars, I wouldn't rest until I was able to pull everyone down and name one after each twinkle in your eyes and hope you don't frown when we run out of stars. Is this a fucking joke? We're kissing our dreams goodbye because who needs dreams when we have this? Once again, likely referencing their fame, how it could ruin their reputation. We're risking everything and nothing could be more worth it. Will you shut the fuck up? Oh my god. And then bro goes, sometimes when you're feeling this blue, the right smile can save you on July 24th. Let's not slow down there, because here we go with July 30th. Starting with a strong open here. Baby boy, don't be blue. We've got big plans for you. This line has rotted the fucking brains of Petekey truthers all over the damn country. I've been up for 3 days trying to get you off my mind, but you're stuck like super glue. What a mess. I can't say I mind it. I am in love with the show 24. It's obsession. Summertime is running, sprinting. It kind of makes me feel sick to my stomach. Come back, punched a wall so I couldn't type anymore. Gotta make it stop. The rest of that doesn't feel relevant to Mikey, to be honest. It feels more like reminiscing and missing, playing at smaller venues and existing less in the spotlight. Although he does mention the Fireside Bowl, which, if you remember, that's where Pete and MCR collided for the first time, possibly romantically. Something about the beginning of that post feels relevant to the Mikey theories and that idea of summer. Pete writes that summer is running and sprinting away. He wants it back. He wants it back. Warped Tour would have been about 2 weeks from ending at that point. So, take that as you will. At this point, it's August. Warped Tour is over. But the insanity is still going strong, because on August 19th, 2005, he says writing messages on your arm for someone to see at a show is the new away message. Stealing people's real diary is the new live journal. Now cue the montage of things written on Mikey Way and Pete Wentz's arms at Warped. People love this one. And the notorious photo, I wish you were my bass, not just my friend. On to September. This post from the 4th is probably my favorite. He's really just he has such a way with words. He's a damn poet. I'm just gonna read it in 3 parts and dissect it from there, because I'm not crying, I just rubbed my nose really hard. And I'm gonna dissect it from there. On the getaway car, the rush of blood to the head. It's strange to find myself again back at the feelings of the blue cover after going through the red and the gold. It's kind of always like that. I'm sorry if I'm not making any sense, but everyone likes to take chances and make bets. I always put my money on the long shots, no matter where my head was in the world. I always dreamed of waking next to the biggest brown eyes I've ever seen, / me and you underneath the honeymoon. Not the first line, but the line with the blue and red cover. I can't lie to you, I was really fighting to figure out what the hell that meant, because I was like, is there it's tough to analyze stuff from before you were born, because I'm sure he's put a lot of references in here that I just don't, I'm missing them, because I wasn't there. Obviously this line is about returning to old feelings after thinking you moved on and experienced something new, and after 30 seconds of thinking, I was like, maybe the Fall Out Boy covers are blue and then red and gold. And I was like, well, it would have been released by then. And I was, maybe my theory was right, because their first album, Take This to Your Grave, has a lot of references to troubles within relationships, and it's blue. And From Under the Cork Tree is their second album, which was released in 2005 in May. And the album looks pretty red and gold to me. So I would say, like, I don't know, it makes sense. But that album, as Pete says himself, deals with, like, ideas of depression and anxiety and the criticism of celebrities and celebrity culture. So that line means that Pete is falling back into his old habits, feeling regret and resentment over relationships, everything, like, he's been through, like, even after all that. And then he says it's kind of always like that, suggesting that this is a cycle he finds himself in, often, like repeating the same mistakes, likely of being too hopeful and taking a gamble on whether or not relationships are gonna work out. Because at the end of the day, he's just a lover. Like, he is just such a lover, and he dreams of waking up to the biggest brown eyes he has ever seen. You know who has brown eyes? Almost Mikey Way. They're pretty hazel green. I cannot, like, that, I can't lie to you. But he's got a bit of heterochromia going on, like there's like a brown chunk. And like they're brown in like a non-professional photo. Like, I feel like if you saw him in the streets, like those are pretty brown eyes. Also, the last line turns into the chorus of I'm like a lawyer with the way I'm always trying to get you off. And the first line is from Champagne for My Real Friends, Real Pain for My Champ Friends. Second song is from the From Under the Cork Tree, the album that was released in May of that year. Sorry, I'm adjusting how I'm sitting right now. But I'm Like a Lawyer wasn't released yet. That is on Infinity on High. All right, so paragraph 2. Go back to what it meant back then, and you imagine yourself moving deep into the summer and disappearing. And for me, it was always with you. And then things got crazy. You stopped calling me back. I stopped trying to call, but not in my head. And then you got malicious, but I'm guessing only because you learned from the best. Take back your taste and all. Here he is, talking about summer again. How he wishes he could go back and experience it again because of someone that made it so good. He says to imagine going so deep into summer that you disappear, getting completely absorbed by it. But the next line is, for me, it's always you, changes that meaning of just falling into summer, but instead falling into summer with someone. Peter freaking Wentz. I need a break. I need a damn break. 3. I never thought it would be just me again, but that's okay. We're gonna hole up and wait it out. I feel like I can see for the first time, like I was born in just the last minute. Wake me up, baby boy, you're gonna be okay. Hearts between your knees, sticking to the summer sheets. Are you catching my drift? It's gonna be alright. Your love would be hell, but it's just not hot enough, baby. Whatever the fuck is happening between these two is messy as all hell. Feeling very on and off again. But there we are, again, with the goddamn summer sheets. Come on. What can be taken from this post is that whatever is going on between these two is complicated and it's messy. But Pete obviously feels so strongly and passionately about this person. Keep saying this person, even though I 100% believe that that is about Mikey Way. And the next post from September 6th really puts this all into perspective. He starts out saying, like, how awful he feels and disappointed when he's so successful, and in theory, like, he should be happy, but he can't because of what happened between him and this person. The reason we never told anyone is because we knew the world would ruin it, and at the end of the day, it did. The whispers never stopped. I lied, you lied, and it made you crazy, and I'm sorry. People pulled us apart, lured us, and you were my home, and it didn't matter what I said when our heads were on the sides of the pillows. Last night I dreamt it turned out differently. I would stop this in a second to move to the middle of nowhere with you. It's so hard to find someone who likes me for me, and not because I'm Pete from Fall Out Boy. I found them, and then I watched it fade. Dear world, fuck you. If this isn't a lesson in leaving celebrities alone, then I don't know what it is. Reading this while making a deeply parasocial and invasive analysis video on the exact subject he's talking about is making me feel so deeply guilty, but I wasn't even alive in September of 2005, so I'm absolved from all guilt regarding whatever happened here. In true hypocritical fashion, I will now show a bunch of different photos of Pete and Mikey wearing each other's clothes. Specifically, people cling to the white jacket because the next thing Pete posts on September 12th says, I love wearing your clothes because it somehow makes me feel closer to you. Possibly because of a things are getting a little sparse at this point as we skip all the way to October. On the 7th, Pete writes, "You couldn't be wrong because I dreamt you alive. I was just thinking about the summer, and my favorite moment was playing the Gorge in Washington. Cool after dark, just past the bruised sky. You singing the words, a phone call home to the best forever." And then signs the post off with, "True fucking love." Fall Out Boy played the Gorge during Warped Tour on July 9th, just to sort of clear that up, make it a bit more understandable. Of course, Mymancorvan was there. Unfortunately, since it was like so long ago, I couldn't find any videos or photos of this show as to why it may have been his favorite night, but the phrase just past the bruised sky does make me think about the sunset references he makes in regards to summer, also Mikey Way, already into November. We're slowing down quite a bit here. But in November, there's only like 3 posts that I feel like are pertaining to this particular relationship. First comes on the 13th, where someone asks about Mikey in a Q&A, to which he responds by explaining their gang, sweet little dudes, and the fraternal order of the handsome boy. And he calls Mikey Way the Duke of Handsomeness. And then we go to the 23rd, where he writes all this. He goes on about how he has all these things he wants to say and do, but it's a lot more work to do them than it is to just think them. It's easier to say I only need 5 seconds with you than a lifetime with someone else than it is to live it. To be honest, I'm dying from it. Is maybe him saying he's realizing that this relationship just might not be good for the both of them. In theory, he believes that 5 seconds with this person is gonna be enough for him, but in reality, he knows that he doesn't mean it. Followed by kiss me electric versus kiss me at all. And when you do, it's just a kiss off. Feels like there's a lot of mixed signals going on there. But then on the 30th, he says, "You are my lobster," which I can only assume is a reference to Friends, which referred to Ross and Rachel being each other's lobsters, since they apparently mate for life, according to Phoebe. And December just falls right off. I mean, literally nothing worth mentioning, like really mentioning, until the end of January on the 26th. In a Q&A, he responded to someone asking, "Has someone you superly duperly adored gone away?" Okay, I messed up how I wrote that question, so I'm gonna put it on the screen. By adored, we're talking like run away to Israel and get hitched without telling anyone adored. To which he responds, "The sinking feeling in your rotten gut is your reminder. Cool sheets on your bed are your antidote." Jaw on the floor, first of all. With all the angsty stuff he's been saying lately, I would say this is about a certain Michael perhaps, but who's to say? And then, in February, because once again, nothing really came after that, this photo posted on the 19th has killed people. And on the same day, he says, "I'm in the lobby of a hotel in New York City waiting for something that isn't ever going to happen." Does this sound familiar at all? Perhaps, maybe, twin skeletons, okay? There's a room in a hotel in New York City that deserves our fate and deserves our pity, okay? I don't remember what that word is. But that song is about having sex in a hotel room in New York and how it's like, shh, secret. Why? Maybe because they're gay. And here's the final post before I thought my brain might start pouring out of my ears from just reading about, 2 full years of Y2K blog posts, desperate homosexual pining, from June 15th, 2006. Me and you underneath the honeymoon. I'm not sure if you know, but every night I've had that white hoodie, I slept with it. And when you had it back, it was hard for me to sleep. And every time I've ever left, I kissed that thing you drew on the board in my room. Now I don't have either. Anything you've ever done, I could forgive or forget, except this. It was something I held sacred, and Once again, Pete desperately misses this man. He's saying me and you underneath the honeymoon again. Someone help him. You'll notice I'm wearing something different. That's because, I'm gonna call this next segment, What the Fuck Happened in July? Can I tell you, the reason I'm wearing different clothes, I almost stopped researching. And then I said, maybe I'll just take a peek into July of '06. And I almost stopped researching because like it was getting really dry. I was like, damn, like this guy, like maybe he got over him. No, actually it's kind of the opposite. Thank fucking God I didn't stop looking. 99% of people researching Petekey quit right before they hit gold. I'm 1%. How fucking lucky, because as soon as July hits, Pete starts writing what I can only call literal ass love poems every few days. Call this a lightning round. July 1st, 2006. Sex in the City, the part they'll never tell you. It's strange here this time of year because the weather never changes. It is always summer here, so it doesn't feel like the same desperate love of these 3 pages on the calendar, or at least not what I'm used to. Eternal summer, wherever he is. Sounds like someone's still really stuck on a certain relationship. Someone's like, oh, thank God it always feels like summer here because I get to pretend. July 5th, the last thing I think of before I fall asleep and the first thing I think of when I wake, regardless of what stars I end up under. For the best and for the worst, you have made me who I am, and I try to make myself more decent and better only because of you. July 7th. I'm so sorry, but not really. Bracket, straighten up and die right. I'll see you in the spring, first pew on the left, wear your white veil, and don't forget the words, Warp Tour, sun-drenched days, best friends, new roads, so long salvation, don't worry your pretty little heads, I'm sleeping safe tonight. Warped Tour? Sun-drenched? Best friends? Perhaps ex-friends? To the end, better off as lovers. And not the other way around. And July 8th, when I tell you this post shocked me to my very goddamn core, the Fraternal Order of the Handsome Boy. I've been watching you from afar, my breath on the inside window as you walk in from the car. Candy-caned lies in red and white clashing against patterns, bending in and out of understanding. You're the stranger I've been dreaming of, stranger than anyone I've ever known. Love through a telescopic lens, when the air is clear, I can see how perfect you are for me. Late at night when the city sleeps, I cast a spell on you to make you think of me the very same way I think of you. I only love how the words feel in my head when I write them. Fireworks over the valley, how can I tell you I gut people for a living? That everything you say is likely to end up as evidence when I rewrite history over and over again. How everything you do reminds me of something else, someone else. How I'm humble and arrogant at the same time, chaste and never caught. That I just want to stay up late and wake up early to talk to you. That I want to show you all of my jealousy and insecurity and have you not care. You're like a light switch and I just want to turn you on and watch them all shrink away. The words come out of my fingertips on impulse. It is instinct. My head can't keep up. I envy the comatose. I admire the bedridden. I am addicted to the way I feel when I think of you. I'm blowing smoke rings around the moon. I wish I was the exact opposite of how the world knows me. I'm about to walk out of this fucking room. Dude, I can't lie to you. Before, I was apprehensive about the whole Petekey thing. I chose this topic low-key just for the lols, for the shits and gigs. Until this exact moment, I have changed my mind. Every song is about him. Every post is about him. This is fucking proof. Let's break this one the fuck down. Fraternal Order of the Handsome Boy. If you recall, Pete and Mikey are in a gang called the Sweet Little Dudes, and the Fraternal Order of the Handsome Boy, specifically calling Mikey the Duke of Handsomeness, so I would call it pretty clear this one's gonna be about him. I'm gonna start with candy cane lies in red and white against clashing patterns bending in and out of understanding. Cause this one, bit of a thinker. Like it's pretty surface level, to be honest. But it felt like I was just like missing something. Like I needed to like think, okay? Candy caned lies. Candy canes, obviously, traditionally red and white, like the rest of the line. Adding in the word lies suggests the idea of maybe a type of lie, such as a white lie. Innocent, done without malice, you know? You tell your sister, oh, your graduation photos, they look actually pretty okay, you're fine. In contrast, a red lie, which is told with the intention to seek revenge or harm someone, the rest of the line sort of talking about misunderstanding or intentionally being misled by another person, okay? Love through a telescopic lens, when the air is clear, I can see how perfect you are for me. I feel like this line is like misleadingly romantic, like it's beautiful and it's like, oh, you're perfect for me. But the air is clear is used as a way of saying like, oh, there's no tension, everyone's happy, yada yada, which suggests that when Pete and, fuck it, I'm just gonna say Mikey, because at this point it's him, the two of them are at a point where the air isn't clear, it's foggy, it's tense, they're unhappy. Pete can no longer see what he had loved so much. These lines, they're from Bang the Doldrums. Welcome back, July 19th, 2005. Good to see you again. And then we're hit with the line, I'm gonna hold your hand. Let me hold your hand. How can I tell you I gut people for a living? Which obviously, not literal, but meant to be a reflection of how Pete feels about himself. He says it like he's, like, not ashamed, but like he knows it. Like he knows that he guts people for a living. What is he really saying here? He's saying, how can I tell you that I'm not a good person, especially in relationships, and I know that, but I don't stop or make a change. Basically, you know, that's what he's saying here. But the next line, that everything you say is likely to end up as evidence when I rewrite history, is like further pushing the idea of him gutting people, being a murderer, by using, like specifically using the word evidence, which is, you know, associated with crime, murder, whatever, saying that the only evidence of the truth of their relationship will be Mikey's word against Pete's word once Pete rewrites history. Whether that's to favor himself more or glorify what they had by brushing over the darker times, who knows, okay? The rest of the post is just like unfiltered, desperate pining, okay? But holy shit, right? And I'd sort of, like, I just kind of scrolled through the rest of 2006, and since Infinity on High, the renowned Petekey album, for those of you in the know, if you're not, that's okay, that's what this video is for. It was released January 1st of 2007, and honestly, people really argue that this shit went all the way into their 2018 album, Mania. So this is, I'm gonna say, as far as I'm looking into this, I'm not really gonna go on to like that's as far as the blogs are going for me. I'm clocked out, but I really want to drive this point home. These have become so many songs. I can't describe the amount of songs Pete Wentz has incorporated his poetry into. And you know what? Here's the thing. It doesn't end at Fall Out Boy, okay? I was reading a bunch of those posts in the early ones. He's talking about, oh yeah, me and Ryan Roth's Panic at the Disco were writing songs together. And he has like writing credits. I don't know if he has writing credits on like certain songs from Fever You Can't Sweat Out. But there are like songs that he was like quoting before they were even released. I think he quotes the only difference between martyrdom and something else is something or whatever. I'll put it there. And then he also quotes like I don't know, there's another song that he quotes like before the song came out, and I was like, how do you know this? I'm like so heated. I'm so heated, I can't speak properly. But word for word, bar for bar, like the calendar, the song The Calendar by Panic at the Disco from Vices and Virtues, which is released, I believe, 2011, is in his blog posts, as well as like stuff from Bittersweet, or things that like I think are like Bittersweet, and Kaleidoscope Eyes. But people also claim that Trade Mistakes Always and Hurricane are also about Mikey Way. So it's like, I don't even know, like what I read still is not enough. Unless they had so much time on their hands, on their goddamn hands, I think you would have to be there from the beginning to really know all of this, because it took me like weeks to goddamn start freaking reading all of that. Like, it was so much, and it's so much just like desperate homosexual pining. As I've said, it's exhausting.
Oh, I love him. Oh, but he doesn't call me anymore.
Shut the fuck up. Oh my god. You're 27. Did you know in 2006, Pete Wentz, 27 years old? Okay. I'm sorry. That was a little rude. But needed. Because what? Grow up. But also don't, because it's very beautiful. And he has, like serious, like, talent and skill, like, for writing. Like, truly, madly, deeply. And in one of his posts, he said that, like, someone asked, like, do you ever change the lyrics because you think people won't be able to understand them? And he says, yes, all the time. And I'm like, how much have we lost? How much poetry have we lost? It's like his blog posts are his brain and his mind, but he just feels like he can't put that into, like, the literal art that's his career. Like, it's just, people are too stupid to understand what's really going on in his brain, so he doesn't release it. And I'm like, let me in. And I think that these blog posts are as close as we goddamn can even get to that. There's my little rant sesh. Thank you. Thank you for listening. But I urge you to listen to Infinity on High. Most importantly, I urge you to listen to these 7 out of the 14 songs. And if your ass is paying attention, then you'll key into what I've been goddamn yapping about for the past, however, insert time here. But to wrap all this up, sorry, I'm leaning. To wrap all this up, Mikey Way and Pete Wentz, they were seen together a lot in the past. A lot of what I read in the past few days and weeks and however long of research doesn't leave much up to the imagination, to be honest with you. And at the end of the day, it's really no one's business at all. But I'm always gonna think about it every time I hear Bang the Doldrums or Takeovers, Breakovers, or I'm Like a Lawyer, or The Calendar, or Bittersweet, or they're still friends right now. Like, they actively, like, talk to each other on Twitter, and they, like, hang out, and they've been friends since they first met. Like, they're guys, at least they're friends. And recently, when we were young, they were seen getting into a car together after the shows were done. The same night, earlier that night, Bang the Doldrums played for the second time ever since it had been released, since 2007. Second time ever. Which could be nothing, right? Right?